Hey, good Tuesday evening, everyone. State Representative Brad Halbrook here again on your Tuesday night live stream roundtable. And I have a great group with me here tonight. I have leader, chairman of the Freedom Caucus, Chris Miller. We have Adam Niemerg, leader Adam Niemerg. And let me see here. Seems like I got somebody else maybe that's trying to join in. We'll bring him on. Oh, yeah, we have leader Blaine Wilhauer. Looks like he's out in the barn tonight, probably tending to the livestock. And then we have Professor Emeritus Leader Dan Calkins. Welcome, everybody.
The older version of Jed Davis.
Good evening.
It's too funny.
Dr. Hawkins.
Hey.
Hawkins.
Yeah, Blaine, you look like you're being interrogated with those bright lights there in the background.
I'm going to have to do something with my lighting situation here. You'll have to excuse me for a second.
Well,
there he goes.
Yeah.
We're live, folks. We're live.
It won't be long and he won't be able to afford them.
They're going to be cut off anytime.
Exactly.
Well, he's probably got a windmill, and the wind's been blowing the last few days, gentlemen. We've had good wind the last 3 days. That's been an interesting thing as we've survived the polar plunge Sunday and Monday, and yet today it was kind of windy, but a little cool. But yeah. All right. Who wants to get into tonight's program? Are we all set?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, I've kind of I'm just going to open right in with our slide that's kind of going to talk about what we're kind of on the menu for today. It's what is it, day 41, day 42? The government is open again, or soon will be open. The Senate has evidently voted to pass. The Senate or the House will pick this up tomorrow. I believe a lot of the congressmen and women are on their way back to D.C. tonight. And so with that, I'm just going to throw it open. Anybody want to kind of talk about what we've experienced the last 42 days here with this shutdown and what's going on?
Well, Bradley, I think the American people are fed up, and they're more than ready for us to get this thing going, for Congress to get this stuff going. You know, President Trump ran on a lot of really robust promises to, slash and dash government, get them out of our lives and restore sanity. And quite frankly, I don't think that we've seen enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's been 40 some days of a Democrat shutdown. They're voting on a bill that they could have voted on, over 2 weeks ago. And now we're going to see the government reopen. We see we saw the airline starting to cut, had to cut back a little bit. We see people suffering. We see, I had a couple of Democrats come up to me when we were in Vito, and they're talking about, there's going to be some cuts. I'm worried about this. And there's some folks around your area we're concerned about how we just don't know what we can do. And my answer was very simple. Tell your senators to reopen the government. It's that simple.
Well, it is the Democrat Chucky Schumer shutdown, and we all need to realize that. And the interesting thing about this CR is this is exactly the same CR that the Democrats, when they were in charge, voted for this 13 times. And so this isn't like it's something revolutionary. It's the same old stuff. The Democrats want to take your eyes off of they want you to put your eyes on this shiny object they're trotting out there while they're being exposed for their complete incompetence. But I think that rather than focusing on how stupid the Democrats are, I think that we need to focus on all the great things that President Trump's doing, because we're getting closer and closer to energy independence. The bean market's up over $1, in the past couple of weeks, and corn's kind of creeping up, and at least in cattle prices are staying strong. And so our economy is booming, and the Democrats don't want us to talk about that, and we're doing a pretty good job of not doing that. But I think rather than, like I say, focusing on the Dems, we need to focus on the great things that President Trump's getting done.
Right. Leader Dan, thoughts?
I think that I echo what Chris is saying. There are so many good things happening. But people expect more, unfortunately, or maybe that's just the human nature. I think it's the last that last election last week. We talked about it. I think it was the economy. I think the shutdown was planned by the Democrats to hurt the economy, to hurt their people that are voting. And it showed in the blue states where Republicans had a slight chance of doing well. Their base was energized. This wasn't about Obamacare or anything else. This was about trying to make sure that they cemented victories in these blue states in the last election cycle, last November, November 4th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think the Republicans have done a really good job this last few weeks on the messaging of this thing, and I think hopefully we're going to prevail on it, and we'll get some of these much-needed cuts and reforms out in D.C. And Chris, you talked about the rebound in the grain markets, and you guys remember last spring how the Democrats in the Illinois General Assembly were trying to out-farmer the farmers on our side of the aisle with all of their pleas and things and all the resolutions they were trying to do against all the stuff that Trump was trying to get done with the tariffs and like. Blaine, you may even spoke about that once there last spring.
Yeah, nothing like being lectured by a bunch of northern Yankees on how life is down on the farm, right? Yeah.
Right.
No, there's a lot of imbalances in agriculture and everything else that's been a problem for a long time, and I'm glad that we're finally addressing some of this stuff, and this stuff's not going to happen overnight either.
Right.
I was watching Trump on the Ingram angle this evening. Laura was interviewing him, and I know that he admit, how the Democrats have been whining and crying about how the tariffs won't work, but so far they've generated $17 trillion coming into the coffers, and that's not chump change, by the way.
No, and that's supposed to be 2,000 per person, I think Trump had said.
Yeah. Gentlemen, anything else here on this slide before we move off of this subject onto the next subject that you want to touch on?
Yeah, I think it's very telling. You have illegal immigrant health care up there. The Democrats want to prop up illegal immigrant health care over the citizens of this country. It seems like they like to do that in this state as well.
Right.
And the Obama subsidies, it's amazing. The Obamacare subsidies, right when Trump talks about let's give the money back to the people so they can get health care, all of a sudden the government's going to be reopened, and the Democrats are saying, well, we'll take a vote later on Obamacare, but we know that's a losing argument. Right when Trump said we're going to give it all to the people.
Right.
Well, you have to remember that Obamacare was passed without a single Republican vote. And then all these subsidies were put in during COVID, and that's been over for 2 years. So the Democrats crying about these subsidies and all of that, that was supposed to be a temporary measure, sunset. And we don't like to use that word around here, but I mean, fighting over those issues is a non-starter. Yes, I agree that Trump is going to need to work hard to reform healthcare. It's absolutely a disaster. The healthcare, the biggest winners in healthcare are the insurance companies with these subsidies, and we've got to get back to providing a more affordable healthcare, and it's not through a government-funded one healthcare program for everybody. They tried it; it didn't work. It hasn't worked anywhere else. And I hope the Republicans in the House will get busy and let's reform and get rid of Obamacare as it stands.
Yeah, well, they'll say anything about that in the Obama library, but that's right, it's not done yet.
A monstrosity.
The quarter of a $1 billion library that's now estimated to be over 800 million or something.
Yeah, and unsafe.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, anything else? If not, next slide. Yeah, so here we go. ICE continues to do their work in the city of Chicago, in the state of Illinois.
Yeah, God bless ICE. God bless Donald Trump. I mean, this is a situation where, again, we went back to veto session and the Democrats were whining and crying about federal agents in Chicago just doing their jobs and trying to protect their own citizenry. And they're throwing bricks at them. Just 2 days ago, there's a shooting at an ICE officer, and all they can do is just cry and complain, pass ridiculous bills. Basically, in veto, they passed a bill to where any state building essentially can harbor illegals. So we have illegals being harbored by our governor, by the mayor of Chicago and state-run facilities. And then just in my district, and Chris and I, Coles County board member and his wife, Mike and Gail Clayton, were killed, were murdered by an illegal immigrant driving a vehicle, intoxicated and on drugs. So this has to stop. And common sense will prevail on this. But the Democrats, they're going to message as hard as they can. This is a losing issue. If you're here illegally, be prepared to be deported.
You know, we wouldn't have all of this going on if our government, our governor, were cooperating to get the criminals out. There's, I don't know what, 2 million illegals here that have already been through the process and ordered deported that haven't left. I mean, think about it. Trying just to get rid of those folks. They've already been through the system, 2 million of them. And let's, you know, that's not counting other criminals that we haven't even run through the system yet. If we cooperated with Governor Pritzker and Mayor Johnson and the Democrats in Illinois cooperated with the federal government to get rid of the people that aren't supposed to be here, you wouldn't have this chaos.
Well, Dan, I think you're right. And at the end of the day, this is about a Democrat voter registration drive. This isn't about humanity or putting people's, you know, human rights. If they gave a damn about people's human rights, they wouldn't open the border with 20 million people, 300,000 children being put in the sex trade. They would actually have shut the border, respected human rights, and actually moved forward. Instead, they opened the border. We have all these horrible things happening. And lastly, in the state of Illinois, why do they need these people here? For the census and redistricting, because we would pick up seats if we deported all of the illegals.
Right. Well, the thing that you guys are missing the boat on is we don't need ICE agents and police officers. What we need is more therapists.
You can help with that, Chris.
Chris, that's probably too much truth for tonight, but that's we are the home of truth, logic, and common sense. So, yeah, this is the conservative campfire and the home of truth, logic, and common sense. So, yeah.
You guys didn't have a response to that for some.
Because that's actually what the Democrats think, and it's very, very scary.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Right. Well, and I think Senator Chesney talked about that bill they did, that's 1,000-foot setback for ICE. You know, they care more. Illinois Democrats care more about sex offenders than they do the American citizens. They'll let them be within 500 feet of some of these facilities and the like, but yet ICE has to be 1,000 feet away.
And I think it's important to talk about that, Brad. And when it came down to, there was another occupant of that vehicle where that illegal was intoxicated and murdered Mike and Gail Clayton. That individual, under the Safety Act and under the Trust Act, the sanctuary state policy enacted, you know, Governor Pritzker, Mayor Johnson, that individual couldn't be held under the Safety Act and was released because of the Trust Act. So when that happened, ICE happened to be there. I'm very happy they were there. But if we'd have been under a different president, under a different administration, that individual would just been able to walk free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, gentlemen, anything else on this slide? Let's do this. Here's IllinoisFreedomCaucus.org is the place to find all the stuff. And of course, our Substack that goes out frequently. You want to be, that's for those that aren't familiar with Substack, it's just an email platform like a MailChimp or anything, just operates a slightly bit different. So you'll want to join IllinoisFreedomCaucus.substack.com. And with that, how about let's go, we've got a few minutes here. We're running pretty quick on time this evening. Why don't we just do a couple of minutes closing thoughts and comments as we have started November and heading into Thanksgiving season. So why don't we just go as my screen looks like counterclockwise, Blaine, Adam, Dan, and Chris, and we'll close out with that. So Blaine?
Hey, great to be here tonight. Thank you all for watching and for all the support that you give all of us. We're at a very important time. We're in an inflection point in our country. There's a lot of crazy things going on, not just here in Illinois, but in the country. And it's time that the people step up. You know, when good people don't step up, you get the kind of government that we've been that we've been getting. So, you know, I just encourage people to get out there, get engaged, and get involved. And you know, hey, tonight, go Illini. We're about 15 minutes here from the tip-off. Big game for the Fighting Illini. See what they're made of tonight, right? Huh?
Right.
All right, Adam.
Thanks, guys. Blaine, you look like you're doing a documentary where you want to see your face and your voice is muffled. You got some, you're a whistleblower, have some intelligence for us. But folks, thanks for tuning in with us this evening, as always. Thank you so much for following us and everything that you do to help with the grassroots conservative movement. I'd like to say Happy Veterans Day to David Freese. He's not on here tonight. Blaine, Happy Veterans Day. Dan, Happy Veterans Day. And Happy Veterans Day to everybody listening.
Yeah. And to that point, Major, you're up next.
Great to be with you guys tonight. I miss hanging out with you. If you're listening when you're listening to this, folks, let's hear the message. You know, the Freedom Caucus is on the road. We'd be happy to come to your town, to your Lincoln Day dinner, or your Republican gatherings. We'll bring you the message of hope and truth and common sense, logic. Chairman Miller will pray for you and rev you up. So follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Get in touch. Colin will set you up, and we will set you on fire.
Leader Chairman, I don't know. You're up next.
Well, that's a pretty tough act to follow, but there's one thing we know: there's a lot of squealing coming out of Washington, D.C. right now, and as we all know down on the farm, that when you start to trim the pork, the pigs start to squeal. And it's like, it's a lot going on, and we can expect a lot more whining from the Democrats as we continue to see the Make America First agenda implemented and putting the fine citizens of America first rather than all of the swamp creatures. And, you know, it's one of those things that they voted for a lot of bad stuff in the past. And my thoughts are, if you have a clean glass of water and you put a drop of sewage in it, nobody wants to drink it. And so I was so happy that the Republicans were able to hang together and toe the line and not cave in and compromise or send another bad bill with a bunch of pork in it. But so we need to make sure that we give them accolades for actually doing what they were sent there to do. And you know, and I think it's important that we continue to pray for them, pray for Donald Trump, and because the things that are the great things that are happening in America are the result of seeing good public policy implemented by the Congress, which they are sent there to do. And so tip of the hat to the Republicans. And so stay strong and keep on keeping on.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I seen a Facebook meme, I think today, that said that Dave Ramsey was in critical condition over the thought of a 50-year mortgage. Maybe I don't know.
I saw that too. That was pretty good.
I'm signing up for that, by the way.
There we go.
Babylon B had that. I saw that.
Well,
I forget to mention that thing on the 19th too in Champaign. I don't know if you had that on.
Oh, that's next Wednesday. I do not have that on there. So next Wednesday, Champaign, it'll be in the Substack. We'll have it on our social media sites. We'll be a few of us in the Freedom Caucus. Adam, you'll be there. Chris, I think myself will be there, put on a presentation. So just go to our social media and subscribe to Substack. That date and time and location. Again, it's next Wednesday evening. I think it's a 6 p.m. start time. Won't be any earlier than that, but we'll get that information out. Chris, thank you for making sure about that. And as always, we thank you guys for being with us tonight and sharing and liking and commenting and subscribing to our content to help us get the word out to overcome the algorithmic gods of the big tech overlords. So with that, I am going to play the outro and we'll see you somewhere real soon.